Welcome to Pure Sprouts Nurture Hub. We're going to talk about something really, really important today. It's this idea of emotional numbness in a marriage. It's been called a silent killer, and for good reason. It's this invisible thing that can just eat away at the foundation of your home, turning what should be a sanctuary into a place that's just quiet and cold. So let's get right into it.
Just pause and really think about that for a second. What actually happens when a home, a place that's supposed to be your safe space, just goes silent? When the laughter stops, when the real connection starts to disappear, when that place of comfort suddenly feels, well, empty. And this isn't just some abstract idea. For way too many couples, this is their everyday, painful reality.
You see, Allah gave us the perfect blueprint for marriage right here in the Qur'an. And it's so much more than just beautiful words. It's literally a mission statement for every couple. He says he created spouses so we can find sakina, that deep, profound tranquility and peace in them. And that he put mawadda, this incredible warm affection, and rahma, which is true mercy, between us. That's the gold standard. That's what we're all meant to be building.
But here's the thing. That beautiful blueprint, it can be put at risk. That affection can start to dry up. That mercy can feel like it's freezing over. And that vital connection, it can just fade away. And that is exactly where this silent killer, this emotional numbness, starts to creep in. The scary part, it often happens so quietly that nobody even realizes what's going on until the damage is already done.
So what does this even mean, emotional numbness? Honestly, the best way to think about it is emotional starvation. It's a perfect analogy. Picture a gorgeous plant in your home. If you forget to water it, does it die instantly? No way. It starts to wilt, right? Slowly, from the inside. It loses its color, its strength. Well, that's exactly what happens to a marriage when a partner is starved of those essential things like affection, empathy, or just the feeling of being truly seen and heard. The relationship just starts to wilt from the inside out.
And you know what's wild? A lot of the time, the roots of this issue go way back, way before the wedding day. The truth is, many of us, probably most of us, walk into marriage carrying some kind of baggage, unhealed wounds from our childhood, our past, and those things, they don't just vanish when you say I do. Nope, they come right along with us, and they can seriously affect how we connect, how we react, and what we're afraid of. The incredible scholar Ibn al-Qayyim put it so powerfully. He said, the diseases of the heart are actually more harmful than the diseases of the body. Think about that. He's not talking about emotional neglect as just, a small fight or a bad week. He's framing it as a serious spiritual sickness, a disease of the heart. And just like any physical illness, if you ignore it, it's going to spread and cause massive damage to the entire marriage.
Okay, so if this is so damaging, why on earth does it happen so often? Well, a lot of the time, the source of the disconnect comes down to something pretty simple, but also really profound: cultural conditioning.
This is where we see a huge, and I mean huge, disconnect. It's a classic case of wires getting crossed. So many men are taught that their main job is to be the provider, right? You pay the bills, you fix what's broken, you make sure there's food on the table. And from his perspective, he's acing it. He's doing everything he was told a good husband does. But on the other side, his wife's core need isn't just for a provider. It's for a partner. She's looking for that emotional presence, that affection, that empathy. And when these two different job descriptions don't match up, you get this massive, lonely gap right in the middle of the marriage.
And that gap, it has consequences. They're devastating. Suddenly, your conversations are just about logistics. Who's picking up the kids? What's for dinner? The deep talks are gone. Any affection feels, well, mechanical, like you're just checking a box. Trust starts to break down, and this quiet, simmering resentment starts to build up under the surface. And maybe the most heartbreaking part? The kids. They're watching all of this. They're learning that this is what love looks like, and they risk carrying that same empty model into their own relationships one day.
And make no mistake, this problem doesn't just stay quiet forever. It actually triggers a really dangerous chain reaction. You start with these tiny, hairline cracks in the foundation of the marriage, but if you ignore them, they can split wide open and become these huge canyons that feel absolutely impossible to cross.
So how does this happen? Well, it follows a pretty predictable path. First, one partner, often the wife, feels like her emotional needs are just being ignored. She feels invisible,
unheard. Step 2, that feeling turns into resentment, which just makes the emotional void even bigger and deeper. Now here's the critical part. Step 3, a void always wants to be filled. It's just human nature. And that's when loyalty gets tested. If that connection isn't happening at home, the door opens to finding it somewhere else. And in our world of social media, somewhere else is literally just a DM away. That's how vulnerable the situation becomes.
Now, it's easy to think, well, as long as we have taqwa, as long as we're God-conscious, we'll be fine. And look, taqwa is without a doubt the single greatest shield we have to protect us from sin. But it's not a magic spell that automatically fixes a relationship. You have to pair that shield with effort. It requires emotional discipline, the choice to put your phone down, to really listen, to be present. It's exactly what the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, modeled for us in his own home. He didn't just pray, he connected.
All right, that all sounds pretty bleak, I know. But here is the most important part. This is not a terminal diagnosis. A home that has grown cold can absolutely be warmed up again. It is possible to heal. So let's shift gears and talk about how we can actually do that, how we can rebuild that sanctuary. Okay, let's start with the husbands. The work here is to look past just providing financially and start providing emotionally. It can be so simple. Try giving her just 15 minutes, that's it, of your undivided attention every single day. That means phones down, TV off, just you and her. And when she talks, your job isn't to fix her problem. It's to understand her feelings. Just listen. Remember when you were her friend? Be that guy again. Laugh together. And above all else, always treat her with respect.
Of course, this is a team sport. It takes two to fortify the bond. Both of you can work on developing your emotional intelligence, basically learning to speak the language of feelings. It's about practicing self-discipline and setting really firm boundaries, both online and offline, to protect your marriage. And this one is huge. It's about doing the work to heal your own past stuff. Your spouse isn't your therapist. You have to take responsibility for your own healing.
You know, so many of us think that asking for help or even just admitting there's a problem, that it's a sign of weakness. But this hadith from the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, just flips that idea on its head. He teaches us that a strong person isn't the one who can overpower someone else. The truly strong person is the one who controls themselves when they're angry. Real strength? That's having the guts to say, hey, something's not right here, and then having the commitment to do the hard work of fixing it.
So when you boil it all down, emotional numbness isn't some big, loud explosion. It's quiet. It's just like frost forming on a window. It creeps in so slowly, so silently, you might not even notice it's happening. But if you just let it be, if you don't do anything to wipe it away, eventually it's going to cover the entire window and block out all the light.
So I want to leave you with this one last question to really reflect on. Is your love a verb? Is it something you do, an action you take every single day with your attention and your empathy? Or has it become a noun? Just a thing you talk about, a memory of how things used to be? Because the choice to turn that love back into an action, to bring the warmth back into your home, that choice can start right now.